Okay, I will share my screen first. Can you see my screen? Oh.
Yes, it's clear.
Okay, good. Oh. Okay, so we can start right now. Good morning and good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for joining us today. So the Asia Pacific Education Forestry Education Coordination Mechanisms, in short, AP-FECM, is currently hosted by the Faculty of Forestry at UBC. So the AP-FECM has organized this workshop, forestry education in the new normal, along with our partners around the Asia Pacific region. So my name is Susie Xu Qinzhen. I'm the Assistant Director of the Asia Forestry Research Center at UBC. So I will be the moderator of this workshop. So before starting, I want to inform everybody that the workshop will be recorded, and after editing, it will be available on our online video platform. To preserve a good audio quality throughout the workshop, so please be mindful that keep your microphone muted when not speaking. So first of all, I will now give you a short background that was the motivation of this workshop. As you know, the COVID pandemic has affected the education system worldwide. So today, several renowned experts will share their insights and lessons learned from the education, about the education techniques, pedagogic strategies, and valuable experiences that were gained during the COVID pandemic. So this workshop was originally planned as the side event for the 15th World Forestry Congress. Due to the COVID restrictions, so we decided to withdraw from the World Forestry Congress and offer this online workshop instead, to try to fulfill the aims of the side event to the largest extension allowed by the current conditions. Thank you for your understanding. So we want to thank several conventioning organizations. So this event will provide a platform to discuss the challenges, opportunities, and solutions in forestry education under the new normal. So today we will welcome participants from all around the globe and from several time zones. We hope that you will enjoy the workshop. Thank you. I will now briefly introduce today's agenda. So first, we will have opening remarks from Dr. Robert Kozak and Dr. Lu De. Then we will have 7 guest presentations from different universities and organizations. So each presentation will be 20 minutes. So we want to favor the exchange and also sharing of ideas. So each presentation will be followed by a period of questions and answers. In the end, we will also have a panel discussion and closing remarks, which will be hosted by the chair of this workshop, Professor Dr. Guangyu Wang. So for better sound quality, I would like to remind again to keep your microphone muted during the presentation. So in the section of questions and answers, after the presentation, you can unmute yourself if you have any questions for our speakers. So you can also post your questions in the chat box. If you prefer, I can ask on your behalf. So now I want to propose everybody to turn on your camera and then let's shoot a group photos together. Oh, okay. I will do that. Okay, could you turn on your camera? Try to turn on your camera so we will have a photo together. Okay, thank you for your cooperation. So now let's go on. Okay, so now let's welcome Professor Dr. Robert Kozak to give the opening remarks.
Thanks, Susie. I see you have me down for 20 minutes in the agenda. This is not going to take 20 minutes. It might take 2 or 3 minutes tops. I just want to, first off, my name is Rob Kozak, and I'm the Dean of the Faculty of Forestry at the University of British Columbia, and I'm speaking to you from the traditional, unceded, ancestral lands of the Musqueam people. And I'm really lucky to be joined here by a number of colleagues from UBC, Susie, Guang Yu, our Associate Dean, Asian Studies, our former Dean, John Innes, is here as well, and a number of other colleagues from UBC. And I'm really thrilled to be here to support this World Forestry Congress side event on forestry education in the new normal, challenges, opportunities, and solutions. And I'm really looking forward to hearing what people have to say. You know, this was meant to be, this side event was meant to be in person in Seoul. I know that Guang Yu at least made it. I'm not sure if anyone else is there, but Guang Yu's in Seoul. But COVID precluded that from happening. And so we're holding the workshop online, but I think we'll still be able to exchange lots of ideas about forestry education in the so-called new normal. I want to, before we begin, just thank a couple of people. First off, I want to thank the organizers, so Asia Pacific Forestry Education Coordination Mechanism, as well as the sponsor of the side event, AP-FECM. With special thanks, I think, to Dr. Liu, the Director General of AP-FECM, for the great support that you've given us to UBC for the past 10 years. We really appreciate it. For helping to get this program up and going. And I believe Dr. Liu will be following me and giving a few remarks as well. It's been incredible the past 2 years. UBC has worked with AP-FECM and many of our partner universities to provide online forestry education around the world, around the Asia Pacific regions especially, during the pandemic. And I'm looking at the numbers here. It's just incredible. We have taught more than 3,000 students, 3,000 learners from 135 universities in Asia Pacific. They've benefited from these online programs, which is just amazing. And that's allowed us to really develop a practical approach to developing and implementing these online courses. So we're really appreciative, and it's going to be really interesting to see where these programs go post-pandemic. And I think that's really what this workshop is about today. And moving forward, we look forward to collaborating with our partner universities on further promotion of these online courses and the development of new courses. But in addition to that, developing research collaborations together in the Asia Pacific region. Last but not least, I just wanted, this is a really exciting event. I'm looking forward to learning more about where we can take online education in the new normal and some of the opportunities, challenges, and solutions. I just want to thank all of the speakers for taking time to put together presentations, which again, I'm really looking forward to hearing. So we have speakers featured from UBC, AFOCO in Korea, our friends at BFU in China, UPLB in the Philippines, Chittagong University in Bangladesh, and Vietnam National University of Forestry in Vietnam. So I'm really looking forward to the presentations today, and perhaps I'll hand the floor over back to you, Susie, for the next speaker. Thank you.
Susie, you're on mute.
Sure.
Okay, thank you, Professor Kozak, for your opening remarks. Now let's welcome Dr. Lu De, the Executive Director from AP-FECM, to give his opening remark.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Ms. Zheng. So good morning, everyone. I'm pleased to be here to meet you on a special way online meeting of this the coordination mechanism. First, I would say that thank you very much for the Robert Kozak. Thank you very much for your speech. And also on this occasion, I would like to extend my special thanks to John Innes and also Guang Yu from UBC. As you know, this coordination mechanism has a history of about 10 years already. During the past 10 years, under the coordination of UBC and Beijing Forestry University, and also with support all the members, I think that this mechanism has done a lot of work, especially effective activities, and it also helped to link all the university in this region, make the coordination mechanism as a bridge of the cooperation among universities, then that so we can follow and also leading the new trends of the forestry education in this region. So I would like to say special thanks to UBC, especially members of the coordination office under the coordination of and the leadership of Joy Innes. Thank you very much for your excellent work for the mechanism. Concerning the future development of the coordination mechanism, and also in line with the theme of this workshop, I think the education of forestry in this region that facing special challenges, and also under the challenges we have a lot of opportunities. As we know that considering against the context of the climate change, and also the pandemic, and also the social economic development situation in this region, I think that as educators, you guys already see that forestry education is transforming. Because that forest functions, it changes a lot in each society. Forestry concerning the timber, food, energy, carbon, biodiversity, and other things. So I think in the future, forest education needs changes, not only in Asia, also in other regions. But during the process of transformation, the forest education development really depends on economic development level. As different society have different needs from the forest and also forest sector. So I think, and also I hope, this coordination mechanism will further promote the transformation of forest education in this region. Of course, I hope that UBC will still play an important role in this process. especially during the past 3 years. Actually, we should have the meeting, but during the pandemic, we didn't have the meeting to change that, to select the new chair of the mechanism. So I discussed with Wang Yu. I hope during this time, I think we will remain the office there. When the pandemic is over, we can have a sub-meeting, then we can consider how to further make a new change. But during the process, I hope UBC still take the leadership to further coordinate this mechanism. And also APF now we're trying our best, even though that we have some difficulties, especially financial sector, but we will try our best to further maintain the mechanism. And also, I really hope that how to develop the online course. UBC have done a lot of work with the cooperation of the other members. I think that the course have played a very important role during the past 3 years, then made contribution to the forestry education in this region. And I hope in the future, somewhere I can meet the new dean of the UBC Forestry, at the Faculty of Forestry, and also we can continue to cooperation with John Innes. And John Innes will be enter into our board, I think probably in August. And I hope that from the other sectors, other activities, I still need that cooperation or support from UBC and also the other members. Thank you very much. And I hope this workshop is successful. Thank you very much.
Susie, you mute yourself again.
Okay. Okay, no. Yeah, thank you, Dr. Rude. Thank you also all the colleagues from APF-Net for your great support of our programs all the time. Thank you. I will share my screen again.
Susie, can you let me share the screen so I can put my presentation up?
Yeah, I will. Yeah, yes. Okay, so yeah, now we will start our 7 presentations in this workshop. So our first speaker will be Professor John Innes, and he's representing the AP-FECM Executive Office. So Professor John Innes, please go ahead. I will stop sharing so you can share it now.
Okay, thank you very much. I hope you can all see the screen clearly. And I'd like to start off by thanking my old friend Lude for the very kind words that he has just given. We have been greatly honored to have the Asia Pacific Forest Net sponsoring us and sponsoring the Forest Education Coordinating Mechanism. Without AP-FECM, none of this would have happened. So we really are grateful to you for all the investment that you have made in the program. Start off with a couple of acknowledgements. The presentation that I will be presenting has actually been put together by a group of people, and primarily Susie Zheng, but with Guangyu Wang and Hailan Chen as well. I'm speaking today from West Vancouver, which is in the traditional unceded and ancestral territory of the Squamish Nation. And we always mention that because it's something that's very important to us. What I'd like to do today is to talk about, firstly, the background, how the AP-FECM started, how it got involved in a sustainable forest management project, talk a little bit about the challenges and opportunities during COVID, the solutions that we came up with, some outcomes and lessons, and then briefly talk a little bit about the potential future of online education among the Forest Education Coordination Mechanism members. So the background was that really this idea of online education was proposed during the first Forestry College Deans meeting in the Asia Pacific region that was held in 2011. They decided to develop a joint educational online program under the framework of this mechanism with a number of partners, including UBC Forestry, Beijing Forestry University, the University of Melbourne, the University of the Philippines, Los Baños, and others. The sponsorship, as I've mentioned, came from the Asia Pacific Network for Sustainable Forest Management and Rehabilitation. And as I said, without them, this just would not have been possible. The meetings that were held initially recognized that there was a need to develop regionally a regional core curriculum aimed at senior forestry students and potentially young faculty and mid-career professionals, because we realized that there was a lot of people out there that really were not as familiar with some of the recent developments in forestry and particularly in sustainable forest management as they should have been. We thought it would be really valuable to exchange knowledge and technology in forestry management education. And we thought that the best way to do this would be to bring together professors and experts to collaborate in the development and delivery of courses and programs on sustainable forest management. And if you look closely at this photo, you'll probably recognize some of the people. Some have now retired, others are still with us. And I think there's actually quite a few people in this photo who may even be on this call tonight. So looking at the project, the goal that we set out to try and achieve, or the goals, I should say, were to build 15 high-quality online courses dealing with sustainable forest management, to create a platform where we could exchange ideas and experiences about sustainable forest management education. We wanted to provide a foundation for universities in the region to actually develop their own master's certificates and degree programs. And we knew they couldn't do this on their own. So that's why we had this principle of open courses. And finally, we wanted to try and reduce inequity in forest education by providing more open educational resources. Some institutions within the region are very well financed, such as University of British Columbia. Others have much less in the way of resources available to them. So in our first phase, which went from 2013 to 2016, we involved 4 universities in the development of courses from Australia, Philippines, China, and Canada. During this phase, we developed 5 self-directed online courses. And the principle was to have these courses that were open education resources for senior students. The whole time we were thinking in the back of our mind that these could be developed into an online program with a credentialed degree in forestry. But having said that, we were actually pleasantly surprised by the interest in these 5 courses. And just those courses alone attracted more than 3,300 users from 91 economies in the region. Phase 2, which went from 2018 to 2021, continued with the same universities, but with the addition of the University of Florida in the USA. We improved the way the courses were organized. We added graded assessments. We produced more of a focus on sustainable management of tropical forests, because that's where we saw the greatest need for the education. We created an online distance education certificate program and worked on the foundation for a potential master's degree program. We also created the platform for collaboration across the world that would help promote student mobility, research cooperation, mutual course articulation and recognition, and a number of other benefits to the participating universities. So what courses did we develop? I'm not going to go through all of these, but you can see here there are 15 now, and they range from sustainable forest management in a changing world through courses on things like the International Dialogue on Forestry Issues, to tropical forest ecology, parts 1 and 2, climate modeling, urban forestry, natural forest management. What were the challenges and opportunities as we move forward? Because during our phase 2, we entered into what I guess in history will be known as the COVID pandemic. The first thing that happened was we saw many closures of on-campus teaching, and a lot of faculties and students being very frustrated by not being able to access materials. We also saw some challenges in terms of the way that we were developing our own courses. We couldn't have in-person meetings. It became impossible to travel to China or anywhere else, and it's still actually impossible to travel to China. We can't get visas. There were delayed responses. We had many individuals who were under stress because of the COVID pandemic. We saw many of our partner universities trying really hard to transition to online teaching, but it was a challenge for many of them. And so having a number of courses immediately available proved to be an incredible benefit. We saw reduced productivity of the course development teams because they were unable to work together. And I've still been unable to actually meet up with the partners I had for the courses I was developing. And because of all the COVID and all the other things, there were some delays in the release of project funding, which proved challenging. At the same time, there were opportunities. Firstly, worldwide, everywhere in the world, we saw a transition from in-person teaching to online learning. So what we were doing moved from being something that was right out in the margins to being absolutely central. We were able to share our experience with quality online course development and the implementation of new opportunities. We were able to repurpose some of our existing high quality open educational resources and provide them to partner universities. We learned how to provide the support and resources to multicultural students, because students do behave differently, they learn differently, they interact differently, depending on their culture. And we had basically a crash course on how to do that. And so we were able to develop a vision to support the member universities within the Asia Pacific Forest Education Coordination Mechanism. The solutions that we came up with, we were working with a number of different people. So we had our faculty, we had Beijing Forestry University, we engaged the UBC Center for Teaching and Learning Technology, and that enabled us to work with a variety of organizations to offer more now than 15 open access courses. We were able to adapt our existing courses to meet the specific delivery models that were required for certain universities. And we were also able to adopt a number of new innovations, such as an online teaching and learning lecture series that has involved faculty members around the Asia Pacific region, where they can learn about state-of-the-art techniques. In terms of the outcomes, the first outcome was really the repurposed open educational resources. And before the pandemic, we typically had students doing one subject, somewhere in the order of 100 to 200. In February to April 2020, in China alone, we had 1,500 students across 32 universities taking the courses that we had developed. In September to December 2020, we had 1,200 students from 135 universities. And as Rob Kozak pointed out earlier, this really was quite phenomenal. What surprised us was the level of satisfaction. We had a few people that didn't like it strongly. When we said, did you like the course? There were 7 students who strongly disagreed. But that's not bad from a sample size, something in the order of, what's that, 5, 6, 7, 700, so 1%. On the whole, we had 277 strongly agreed that they liked the courses and 331 agreeing. So we were pleasantly surprised by that. We didn't know we could deliver courses. We also set up virtual summer camps. So in 2020, there was one package dealing with forest management and the effects of carbon. It had about 50 students. 2021 in July, we had 3 packages. There were about 120 students, and we had 3 areas: forest management and the effects of carbon, natural resources management, and bio-based renewable materials. This year in July, we have 4 packages and more than 200 students registered, dealing with similar courses. We have the forest management and carbon, natural resources management and geospatial analysis, the bio-based renewable materials, which remains very popular, and a new one on urban forestry. And these are enabling people to come together just for 1 month, so they don't have to be a long-term commitment. Our second outcome was really the establishment of the course completion certificate and the graduate certificate programs. For example, we have the certificate of completion for the individual courses, and we can provide these to the individuals who take the courses. We have developed an online graduate certificate in forest management and conservation, and it's a complex process. It was probably more complex at UBC than in most other universities in the network, but we did it. We're still working on the master's side, but we have now the graduate certificate. There have been questions as to why other universities haven't leapt on this. And I would say probably the most likely reason is the resourcing that's available within those universities. It does require significant time and effort to actually run an online course. You can't just leave it and let people go and do it. You have to be there, you have to help students, you have to grade them, you have to interact with the students, talk to them, discuss particular topics with them. In terms of the program requirements that are emerging, what we are seeing is for the certificate that we have one complete, it's a required course that must be completed in the first term, which deals with sustainable forest management in a changing world. And then we currently have a choice of, what's that, 3, 6, 9 courses available to them. There's also other courses now coming online as well. Outcome 3, capacity building. We saw that as being very important, particularly as a result of COVID. So we have organized a virtual conference in July 2020. That brought in about 30 participants, and that really was on strategies and techniques to cope with COVID-19. So we didn't expect that many people to join it. We thought there might be one person from each university, and that's essentially what we pretty well got. We did develop an action response to the pandemic. We made courses available. We assessed the challenges and opportunities for regional forestry education within the context and shared that. And we also worked on novel forestry pedagogical and collaborative strategies and discussed those in joint meetings. We also created a dialogue series with educational leaders. This was aimed at identifying common key challenges in online teaching. We had 12 sessions that were held separately, and that identified a number of challenges and a number of areas for future collaboration, which included mutual course recognition, online course development, student and faculty mobility, a young scientist working group, and research on forestry education during the COVID pandemic. We also organized a virtual lecture series on online teaching that has been very well attended. We brought in 8 world-class scientists to talk about online teaching. And really, this has been something that we have had a lot of very positive feedback about. We brought in people from a variety of different places, such as Indiana University in the USA, or Peking University, Beijing Forestry University, Contact North, and others. In conclusion, what we have seen is the integration of emerging educational technologies and pedagogies into these online courses. When we first started this, there were no such things as massive online open courses, the MOOCs. This was something completely novel. And so we're pretty pleased at where we have got to. We've involved more than 130 universities and over 70,000 users. We've established AP-FECM and UBC graduate certificate programs. We've received a lot of praise and positive feedback, which we're really pleased about. We've developed the platform for an exchange of ideas, and we've begun to reduce some of the gaps that exist in forest education in the region. We've learned that really a team-based approach can bring enormous benefits, particularly when we mix people from different universities, which is a very different educational model to normal. We found that we can mix asynchronous and synchronous teaching, so we can leave students to do some work in their own time, but we've also realized the value of bringing them together to discuss that work in synchronous teaching. We've developed a student-centered pedagogical model and learning activities. We've worked on supports for students who have special needs or difficulties in accessing high bandwidth technology. And in phase 3, we hope to see even more course development. So where are we going in the future? Big question, I guess. We are filling out some of the gaps in the range of courses. So we sat back and looked at the courses we had and we said, what really is missing if someone wanted a complete forestry degree? And so you can see there are a number of different courses that we are hoping to develop in a phase 3. We'll also continue to assist partner universities in repurposing the open educational resources and provide advice in developing university academic degrees. We'll also continue with capacity building and training for midterm career professionals. We anticipate further cooperation also through our instructor-led course delivery of the repurposed courses in the summer programs. So that's what we hope, the direction that we will go in the future. I guess a lot of that will depend on funding, and a lot will also depend on the way COVID develops in the future, and who knows what's going to happen with that. So I'll end on that note, that question. Thank you. It does say any questions here, but I think we will probably want to leave it till the final panel discussion for questions.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Professor Ines, for your great talks. To follow the topic of Professor Ines, so one example of an initiative by the AP-FECM, Asia Pacific Young Scientists Association, has been developed. So it is a platform for young forestry scientists to exchange and improve professions together. So I will post the web link in the chat box. So you are welcome to join our events and join us as members. So I think while we still have time for the few questions. If you have questions for Professor John Ines, please unmute yourself.
So I think Sam Huang was wanting to ask a question. Sam, you're
please,
okay.
please unmute yourself. Yeah.
Yeah. So thank you very much for the great presentation. My name is Sam from Vietnam National University of Forestry. I have two questions. So program is really wonderful, and our university is the Forestry University in Vietnam. And the question is, it is possible that our university can join this program, because we have two programs. One is a bachelor program with cooperation with US, and one program is a tropical master for tropical forestry, the master program with cooperation with Germany. And our lecturer can give give presentation and prepare the lecture in English. So it is possible that we can join. The second question is, I see many courses is really interesting. Is the presentation and literature of this program is available, and how our students can join and can get the lecture. Thank you.
Okay, in terms of the first question, I think probably the best thing is for us to talk offline about that, and we can work out the details of how you can join in that. In terms of the second question, again, I think probably it might be best, because we need to work out all sorts of how the links are done and everything else. We should probably talk independently of this meeting. So Susie will set up maybe a meeting for myself, Guan Yu, and yourself, Sam. Hopefully in the near future. Guan Yu's currently out of action because he's in Korea, where he'll probably catch COVID. But the rest of us are here. And as soon as Guan Yu comes back, we'll set something up to talk to you about that.
Thank you. Yeah.
Okay, is there any more questions for Professor Ines? Okay, if it's not the case, so we will move to our next talk. Okay. So our next presentation will be given by Susan Young Ryan. Is that the right pronunciation? Sorry if I made a mistake. Okay. So she is the acting head to Regional Education and Training Center from AFCO. So let's welcome Susan Ryan.
Thank you very much, Susie. I'm really much privileged to be invited to this workshop. And now I'm here in Seoul together with the Professor Wang. Really honored to meet him as well. I'd like to give our sincere appreciation, especially to Dr. Lu Du, Executive Director of AP-FECM, and Professor Dr. Robert Kozak, Dean of the UBC Faculty of Forestry, and also again, Professor Dr. Wang, Director of AP-FECM Executive Office. Let me share my screen first. Okay, I hope my virtual background may not disturb your eyes. I tried my best to put all the logos I was given from Susie. Today, I would like to talk about deliver a presentation with the title of Oldies but Goodies, our vision to build up new generation through AFCO Regional Education and Training Center. So before starting, let me very much briefly introduce our organization. AFCO, Asian Forest Cooperation Organization, is a treaty-based intergovernmental organization adopted in 2015 and formalized in 2018. And in the same year, we established the Regional Education and Training Center in Myanmar, which is a subsidiary organ of the Secretariat. It is located in Mobi, Yangon, in Myanmar. We obtained observer status in the UN General Assembly in 2020 and became an ODA eligible international organization accredited by the OECD in 2021. Currently, we have 16 member countries in Asia, 13 member parties and 3 observers. Last year, thankfully, we also welcomed Kyrgyzstan as a new member, a new observer. So you may wonder why we put the title as All These But Goodies, our vision to build up new generation. From this title, we would like to deliver about the new thinking upon legacy, what we have done so far and what we have to pursue in our future. In the perspective of our organization and also in the perspective of capacity building, I would like to introduce one long-term capacity building program entitled Landmark Program. This is the first and the long-term capacity building program in forest and forestry sector, especially serving for ASEAN member states. Under the Landmark Program, we have various components, especially establishment of a regional education and training center, as you can see, and the training programs, development of various types of modules, conducting the scholarship programs and fellowship programs. And also we also have the restoration projects for mangroves, village forestry, timber genetic resource management. It's started in 2014 and it will be ended up soon in 2023. And now we are in the very critical moment, how to move forward. And is very much pleased to meet all of you, UBC Faculty of Forestry, and also colleagues of AP-FECM. So what we have learned so far from this Landmark Program is I'd like to highlight 3 things. Firstly, throughout the conducting these components and also training programs, we would like to we convinced that it is very much critical for enhancement of research sector for serving good governance of the member. More science-based, evidence-based policy development is a continuous voice demands from the member countries, which is now another succeeding voice to support the research in the long-term perspective. So in the end, research and development is a very much critical element we learned, especially for our future capacity building roadmap. Currently, we are developing a roadmap for 2030, but not limited in that year, but beyond. So this is the bird's eye view of our research center in Myanmar. As you can see, we have some dormitory, some auditorium, and also classrooms. And if we have a chance to invite you, it will be very much also honored for AFOCO. After this establishment of a center, surrounding area, we have 119 hectare forest land provided by the Myanmar government, which is now we are developing for the experimental forest together with many partners and organizations. And hopefully we could invite you to this site to make another and good collaboration in the future. So based on this kind of legacy we have produced so far, I'd like to move forward. We AFOCO, how we can serve our member countries much better and much productive. For that, this year, we had some good survey. We got the baseline survey and also the capacity demands assessment targeting our member countries, especially for the government sector as the intergovernmental organization. And as you can see, there are 4 dimensions, category 1, 2, 3, and 4. And you can see many green colored cars with numbers. With the in X axis, this is the right, going to the right side. It means that these are the higher demands from the high level government sector. And Y in the Y axis, going up, it means that these are the higher demands from the field and technical level. So I'd like to highlight only category 1 here to the workshop, that in the future, our member countries' voice saying that climate change adaptation, forest disaster protection and management, carbon stock measurement, forest restoration and rehabilitation, watershed management, landscape management, and geoinformatics. These types of topics are continuously demanded and wanted by our member countries in the future. But it doesn't mean that the other topics are not necessary in our region. Various types of levels, students and researchers, there are very much various topics we need to collaborate to support the multi-level sectors in our region. And also I'd like to introduce our good result from the recent evaluation for our regional projects. So usually for the evaluation, we usually used 4-5 criteria from the OECD, which are, as you can see in the diagram, left side in the box: relevance, effectiveness, and efficiency, sustainability, and impact. But this time we, based on that, we also applied another types of evaluation from the social investment impact investment from the OECD, which is social innovation, policy, financial data, and transparency accountability factors. So from this evaluation, I'm not sharing the result of the program one by one in this workshop, but I'd like to highlight that this kind of balanced views we would like to pursue in the future. So which are infused in policy impact, forest impact, biodiversity, social and financial, all kinds of factors will be critically treated in a balanced way. And I also would like to highlight one reflections from our World Forest Congress event hosted by AFOCO. We conducted the pre-Congress event 1st May, last Friday. The title was the Asia Forest Forum, Research Capacity Development and Good Governance. And we invited all the heads and delegations from the national research institutes of our member countries. And from this pre-Congress event, we learned 5 top priorities from the participants, that new paradigm at the moment is needed, especially for establishing a research network platform in the future. We also need cooperation with action-oriented, science-based, in an inclusive and innovative manners. We also need to set priorities among the various needs from the various countries, multi-sectoral approaches. We need to narrow down the knowledge gaps in the regions. And last but not least, we need to communicate more and better and productively. So from this result and the lessons from our past, now we are developing the next phase of Landmark program, which is called as Landmark Program 2.0. Landmark program, current program, our main target is the ASEAN member states, but we are expanding our target countries, not only Southeast Asian region, but also Central Asia, South Asia, and other member countries in our region. And also we need to increase our scope, not only in the partners in certain member countries, but also we need to expand our scope of cooperation. So especially one of our main output of the landmark program, Regional Education and Training Center, we also have a various brainstorming how to expand its role in the future. So together with the expansion and the establishment of the research experimental forest surrounding at the center, the role of the RTC will be expanded to form a forest research network with various players, not only the government sector, but also universities, research institutes, expert groups in various mechanisms, private sectors and NGOs, and civil societies and communities. So in the long term, we are also targeting about the networking of the research and development centers. There are so many good partners in the region and also other regions as well. So our mandate, our focus mandate, probably I would like to say that to connect the linking dots of research institutes among the member countries, as well as the global partners, including the UBC. We also, from this networking, the joint efforts will be further required in the future for achieving the long-term research development beyond 2030. But currently, it's still the development phase, and I would like to highlight that AFOCO cannot implement alone. So we cannot work alone, simply saying. So various players and partners we are welcoming actively. Here in this slide, we are having only the logos of international organizations, but universities, including UBC and China and other our member countries, are very much welcome. And from these partnerships, we believe that much more collaborative actions and practical actions will be crystallized. Highlighting the partnership, we also would like to introduce our new policy. At the last assembly session, our assembly endorsed the policy for welcoming partner country beyond Asian region and partner organization with the multi-sectoral, multi-layers levels organizations and institutes. So UBC will be also our good partner organizations as well. So this kind of a partnership will contribute to building research and development, not only the science and technology in the forestry sector, but also we believe that it will contribute widening opportunities in small enterprise development, serving the local communities in the member countries of the region. So this is all, and thank you very much. And also, I'd also try my best to answer your questions. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Susan Rao, for your great presentation. So now it's the question and answer sections. If you have questions for Susie Rao, please unmute yourself.
Yeah, I have a question. I'm alumni from Bangladesh. But
you can ask me.
I mean, you can echo though.
yeah, I am alumni from Bangladesh. I have one question to. Can you hear?
Yes,
program?
yes.
Yeah. Just one question is that is Bangladesh also a partner? And if my university is interested to join in your network, is it possible? This is from University of Chittagong, Bangladesh. Thank you.
Thank you. May I? Is it okay? Yeah, thank you, Dr. Mohammed from Bangladesh, and very pleased to meet you. Yes, of course, you can be our partner organization. From the government sector, the Bangladesh can be also an observer, as long as the country is located in Asian region. The country can be a member countries of AFOCO. The university sector itself also joins AFOCO as a partner organizations. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for your talk, Susie. I think I was lucky enough to participate that your landmark to the review. That's impressive. I have a question for you. I probably have a question for you in the end as well, in the discussion session. As a university, do we join the AFCO, the capacity building group, or we can join the AFCO as a whole partner? So what's the layer will be used for the university?
Thank you, Professor Wang. To my best knowledge, AFCO is the intergovernmental organization, and the members are mostly the government sector. So when we call it member countries, it means that the representing government sector from each country. So in case of the universities, especially in other regions, like also the government of Canada, for example, also the government sector of Canada joined as the partner country. Canada also joins the partner country. And in case of university, in UBC, and also including the whole mechanism of the AP-FECM itself also we can make a partnership together as a partner organization. Would it be
yeah, thank you so much. Yeah, thank you. I hope we have more discussion this afternoon. Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Susan Rang, for your great sharing. So I also have some questions, like you shared a lot of like a vision and a strategy plan from AFCO. I think we share this is based on this, like we are really sharing a lot of interest, the common interest together. So I want to ask, what's the most like critical point you think to achieve your like a vision or strategy plan?
Thank you, Susie, Dr. Zheng. There are so many things that we need to consider, but focusing on the topic of this workshop, especially for how to address the COVID pandemic, post-COVID era, and also in the perspective of capacity building, I'd like to highlight that somehow the modality is a very much critical issue these days. In-person training itself cannot serve the participants anymore, and somehow we need to develop various types of modalities. So this is why I was very much impressed when Dr. The first sorry, I forgot the name, but the first resource person introduced the various types of online courses of UBC, these are what exactly we would like to pursue in the future. And also UBC has some programs targeting the senior researchers and young scientists, professional scientists. So we also have the program like the STEP program, Science Exchange Training and Progress. Science STEP, Science and Technology Exchange Program. So many voices, especially even though they obtain the PhD degree, the postdoc training they would like to have before they go back to the country. So in this case, the UBC will be one of the best place to provide this kind of opportunities to learn more in-depth science-based knowledge in the future. So I was very much impressed about from the first presentation, and it gives me a lot of brainstorming ideas for the future. I hope it will be helpful answer to you.
Yeah, thank you. Okay, is there any more questions for through the round? Okay, thank you, through the round again for your great sharing and also answering. Okay, so we will go on with our presentations. So next speaker will be Lin Yu from Beijing Forestry University, BFU in China. So BFU is also our current co-chair of AP-FECM. So let's welcome Lin Yu.
Thank you very much, Susie. Ladies and gentlemen, good morning and good afternoon. So let me share my screen. So it's a great honor for me to attend this workshop on behalf of Beijing Forestry University as co-chair of the Asia Pacific Forestry Education Coordination Mechanism. And I would like to extend our sincerest gratitude to AP-FNet for their everlasting support to the Asia Pacific Forestry Education Coordination Mechanism and the sustainable forest management, as well as forest education in the Asia Pacific region. And my gratitude also goes to the Faculty of Forestry of UBC, Dr. John Yins, Dr. Robert Kozak, and Dr. Guang Yu, and everyone that has been working together with us to promote the forest education and the international cooperation of forest education in the Asia Pacific region. I really appreciate this opportunity to share with you some of our stories about what we have been doing in response to the COVID-19 and talk about the hybrid teaching and learning mode in and after the pandemic periods. So first of all, in my presentation, I will talk about the development of China's online forestry education. Even before the COVID-19, many Chinese universities reached a consensus that the online education or the MOOCs should be an inevitable tendency for modern higher education. And the online education resources should be developed through the joint efforts by different parties or stakeholders, like the universities, the governments, research institutions, and also third-party agencies to develop digital textbooks, online courses, and quality regulations, as well as copyrights for the online education resources. When the framework of the online education is established, it comes to the issue of course selection for the students, or what we call the knowledge sharing for students, who are the most important beneficiaries of the online education resources. And in order to guarantee the sustainable development of online education, we also need to build a mechanism of common authentications, including the elements such as the guidance by the participating universities, authentication and mutual recognition of credits, and also course fees charged for the students who take the online courses, as well as effective certificates and diplomas issued by the participating universities. And in spite of the COVID-19, China has never stopped its efforts on the development of online education. And in 2020, the World MOOC Congress was held in Beijing, and the Congress announced the Beijing Declaration on World MOOC Development, and also launched the World Alliance of MOOC. So during the past 40 years, China has learned a lot from higher education of other countries in the world. And we have transformed from a participant to a contributor to the online education in the world. And in the coming years, China will continue to contribute to the world higher education development by providing China experience and the China solutions. When it comes to the higher education, forestry higher education, in 2014, Beijing Forestry University initiated the first National Alliance for Forestry University online course resource with 10 other national forestry education institutions. And 2 years later, BFU launched the National Alliance for Forestry Extension Education online course resource. And also in 2014, Beijing Forestry University initiated the Education Informatization branch of China Education Association of Forestry. And also 2 years later, the first annual academic meeting of the branch was held in Nanjing Forestry University. Just as Dr. John Yins mentioned in his presentation, with the support from AP-FECM, Beijing Forestry University and the UBC, as well as other leading forestry education universities or institutions in the Asia-Pacific region, established the Asia-Pacific Forestry Education Coordination Mechanism in 2011. And 2 years later, in 2013, Beijing Forestry University signed an agreement, a project agreement with AP-FECM for the project of innovative sustainable forest management education in the Asia-Pacific region to develop an online platform of quality forestry courses. In the first phase, there were 6 online courses, and Beijing Forestry University with Dr. Luo Youqing as the leading professor, developed one of the courses, which is called the Forest Resource Management and Protection. Now I would like to share with you some of our experiences of China's online forestry education in response to the COVID-19. At the outbreak of the COVID-19, the Ministry of Education of China just called for all the national universities to launch the online teaching and learning. At that time, over 952,000 teachers from over 1,400 universities just launched around 7 million online courses during that time, and the person time of online study was over 1.18 billion. So it was an unprecedented national online education campaign of profound significance to both the university teachers and students. So in this sense, China just transfer the higher education in China just experienced the transition from traditional education to online education. And these graphics just showed the steady development of the online courses in Beijing Forestry University during the early stage of the COVID-19. And for our university, in order to get a better understanding of the online courses and the online education, we just had a survey to the students and the teachers of our university. And according to the result of the survey, most of the students are satisfied with the online learning and the teaching, and over 70% of the students and the parents are also satisfied with the online course arrangement and the learning resources, as well as the interaction with their teachers. But the online teaching for the teachers was a challenge because 93% of the teachers have to give live courses, and 99% of the teachers are satisfied with the students' performances. And the most difficult part is that all tests, quizzes, and the thesis defense had to be done online. So in this sense, the teachers have to experience a difficult period from the abnormal to the new normal of the COVID-19. And at the beginning, they were worried and unfamiliar with the situation of online education, but now they are much more experienced and confident for the future of the online education. Also, like I mentioned in the first part of my presentation, Beijing Forestry University developed a online forestry education platform with UBC, and these courses were used to establish a special scenario for students in and out of the Asia Pacific region during the outbreak of the early stage of the COVID-19. And many BFU teachers also participated in the teaching of those online courses during that time. In addition, BFU was also involved in the UBC Forestry Virtual Summer Camp in both 2020 and in 2021. The UBC Forestry Virtual Summer Camp was 1 month intensive online activities, including 2 online courses on forest management and 5 cultural and interactive sessions. And a number of BFU students joined with dozens of students from other Chinese forestry-related universities into this virtual camp. And they had very wonderful experiences and informative sessions during that time. And also based on China's experiences, UNESCO launched distance learning solutions in response to the COVID-19 educational disruption, and a series of Chinese online education platforms such as iCourses, Moso Teach, DingTalk, Lark are involved in the international cooperation of online higher education, and there are more to come. And I think Beijing Forestry University and other Chinese forestry universities and even non-forestry universities would like to work together with our international partners to develop more innovative and cooperative programs such as exchange programs, joint education programs, and other seminars or workshops to promote the online forestry education in the new normal of the COVID-19. And we would like to work together with everyone to push forward the development of forestry education in the world. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, Lingyu, for your sharing. So now we have the question and answering section. So please unmute yourself if you have question for Lingyu. Okay, maybe I can ask one question. So like it's great. It's very impressive. Like you showed how many like success BFU have made during the COVID time. So I want to ask like what's the aspect you think still needed to be improved, the online courses based on your own experience?
So personally, I think I myself did not participate in the online teaching, but I've talked with some of the professors or teachers who have participated in the online teaching, and I think some of them are very interested in this new type of teaching, and for the future development, maybe we could establish some kind of a platform or a joint platform or a special mechanism for the online education, like what we have been doing with AP-FNet through the mechanism through the Asia Pacific Forestry Coordination Mechanism, and establish a special organization or agency for online education in the Asia Pacific region to push forward a standardized online education resources for all the universities in the Asia Pacific region. That is what we call standardization for forestry education in the Asia Pacific region.
May I ask a question?
Yes.
Yeah, please
Thanks
go ahead.
for Lynn's sharing. And I noticed that 90% more people are satisfied with the online course, but only 70% people, students are satisfied with teachers' interaction. And so I was wondering how to improve the interaction, this part, like satisfaction about the interaction with teachers and students.
I think the reason why not all the students are satisfied with the interaction with their teachers is that some of the students, the internet connection may be not good at that time, because during the online teaching, there are too many students online at the same time, and there may be some barriers or conflicts in the internet connections. So sometimes the students just cannot get connected with their teachers. So maybe I guess that's the reason why some of the students were not satisfied with the interaction. But as the online education is a tendency for higher education, I think the Chinese government will pay more attention to the development of the national internet development, and this problem will be solved in the near future. So I guess more students will be satisfied with the interaction with their teachers in the future.
Thank you for your answering.
Yes, you're welcome.
Okay, thank you, Lin Yun, for your presentation and answering. So now we move to next speaker. So our next presentation will be given by Professor John Puhan from University of Philippines, Los Baños, and he will also joined by Dr. Roberto Figueroa from the University of Philippines Open University, as both of them have teaching tasks during the same time, so they recorded their presentation. So I will play the video on behalf of them. Can you see my screen? Okay.
Susan, we cannot hear the voice. You didn't click the voice now. You need to click the voice.
Sorry,
no.
you can't hear the voice?
Yeah, you need to, when you share, you need to click that voice after share, before the share.
So I will do that again. Share it.
And when you share, they have the one button underneath. You need to click that button.
Oh yeah, okay, I found it, yes.
Are going to share our experience.
Now it's everything okay?
Yes.
Regarding online student engagement and assessment. First, let me talk about forestry education in the Philippines and our experience in shifting to emergency remote teaching during the COVID-19 pandemic. Forestry education in the Philippines started around 111 years ago at our very campus, the then School of Forestry, which is now one of the 11 colleges of the University of the Philippines, Los Baños. For more than a century, forestry education was mostly done in person, pedagogical approaches. Classroom learning is reinforced by laboratory classes, which include fieldwork involving trips to the forest. In the 1980s, with the popularization of the social dimensions of forest management, fieldwork also started to incorporate engagement with forest communities. When the COVID-19 pandemic was announced in March 2020, top universities in the Philippines initially resorted to emergency remote teaching through information and communication technology. This generated a backlash from students and teachers who during that time lacked the necessary preparation and access to remote teaching technologies. The University of the Philippines, just like many other universities in the country, had to suspend all forms of learning for a time to cope with the shock brought about by the pandemic, but also due to the lack of preparation. Emergency training for all faculty members in designing and delivering online courses for hybrid or flexible teaching and learning had to be conducted immediately. As classes resumed, emergency remote teaching via online courses, which combined synchronous and asynchronous learning, was pursued. In a survey conducted among forestry students, 80% of the 123 respondents admitted that they are not ready for the normal classroom or face-to-face setting for the first semester of academic year 2020-2021. Only about 14% are mentally prepared for academics, with more than 51% not sure, while 35% are not prepared at all. Moreover, more than 70% of the respondents claimed that they are not ready for online and blended learning and hence are not certain of its outcome. In response to the challenges associated with the COVID-19 pandemic, the university operationalized the remote learning by modifying the academic calendar, adjusting the student and faculty load to a lower number of units, redesigning the academic programs and the different courses under each program, and by suspending academic rules and policies affected by remote course delivery. The University of the Philippines Los Baños College of Forestry and Natural Resources follow the framework of the University of the Philippines system in terms of the faculty teaching effectively, while the students not only thrive but also engage, learn, and create with the end view of producing graduates with the core values of honor and excellence, making meaningful choices. Indeed, the workshop for designing online forestry courses held in UBC in 2018, which Prof. Figueroa and I both attended, seemed to have anticipated the forthcoming global COVID-19 pandemic and proved to be instrumental to some extent in our preparation for the emergency remote teaching, but even more as we embrace the flexible mode of learning, which is anticipated to be the new norm even in the post-pandemic world. Our case at the Open University, which is the cyber campus of the University of the Philippines system, was business as usual. Even before the pandemic, we have been conducting teaching and learning activities purely online based on open distance learning instructional design-based strategies while combining synchronous and asynchronous technologies in maintaining student engagement and tracking progress through online assessment. While nothing big changed regarding our general strategies, we were given the huge responsibility of supporting other constituent universities or campuses in the UP system, as well as the other public universities in the Philippines, in shifting to online or hybrid mode of education to weather the COVID-19 storm. In this presentation, we hope to share the different instructional design models and technologies that were used or proposed in offering forestry courses online for maintaining student engagement and doing online assessment, drawing from examples from forestry courses we offered, and a MOOC that was developed under our AP-FECM funded project with the leadership of colleagues from the University of British Columbia. More specifically, we'll be sharing our experience with, first, the learning management systems used for offering our courses. Secondly, the ID models we used for designing engaging learning activities. Third, the tools for promoting student engagement. Fourth, tools and strategies for conducting online assessment and tracking student progress. And finally, some challenges. I will now hand over the next part of the presentation to Dr. Figueroa for the details of what we did, after which I will get back for some of the major challenges that we encountered in the process, which will serve as the concluding remarks.
The University of the Philippines Los Baños provided Google Classrooms and Canvas to be used by faculty members for delivering their learning materials and conducting online activities with students. Google Classroom was part of the Google suite of tools which the UP system subscribed to. This is an example of one of Dr. Pulhin's Google Classrooms. Canvas was offered later, but only a few faculty members used it. Canvas is a learning management system, or LMS, developed and maintained by the company called Instructure, which is based in Canada. It's the same learning management system that UBC was using to host the Massive Open Online Course, or MOOC, that our team developed with the help of our colleagues from UBC and AP-FNet. The course is entitled FODE 004, Forest Ecosystem Services and Community Livelihoods. Meanwhile, the UP Open University has been using two Moodle-based systems. One is called My Portal for delivering regular online courses, and the other is called Massive Open Distance E-Learning or Model Platform for delivering our MOOCs. Our team plans to offer a localized version of FODE 004 at the University of the Philippines through the Model Platform. The digitalization of courses employed instructional design models that aim to ensure learner engagement by establishing relevance and giving learners ample opportunities to interact with each other and be given timely feedback regarding their work. The first model that was used is called Star Cycle Legacy Model. The model was introduced by experts from the Vanderbilt, Northwestern, Harvard, and MIT Engineering Research Center. It's an inquiry cycle that organizes materials and activities in extended inquiry projects to attempt to imitate how scientists solve real-world problems. It starts with a problem related to the featured concept, which is called a challenge, followed by an open call for learners to generate ideas, which will receive feedback from peers attempting to feature multiple perspectives. Then, learners can incorporate comments and suggestions to do more research and revise their ideas. Once they've ripened, they are assessed by peers before being presented to the public. The cycle repeats with the next challenge or problem, which could be another component of a bigger problem or a more complicated version of the previous challenge. This model can be used for problem-based or project-based learning online courses. We used this ID model to structure the course and design the activities. We created two challenges related to the topic. We also designed forums each week to enable students to generate ideas, give feedback, and revise iteratively until the point where they can present it to the facilitators or experts in the course, after which they would do their final revision and present it to a bigger audience through a recorded presentation. As we dig deeper, the first cycle attempts to support students constructively to develop ideas into a project that they would present at the end of week 7 through interactive forums to conquer Challenge 1, which was operationalized as the first big assignment. In this cycle, most of the concepts of forest ecosystem services would be taught. The same cycle is followed for supporting them in accomplishing Assignment 2, which is about community livelihoods. Of course, in this cycle, the concepts in the first cycle are integrated. Another model that was incorporated was the ARCS motivational model by Keller in 1983, which proposed attention, relevance, confidence, and satisfaction to be incorporated in learning activities. Novel technologies were used to grab learner attention. The problem-based approach of the course aimed at establishing relevance and building confidence among the learners, while the overall interactive experience designed around the course aimed to yield higher learner satisfaction. Aside from Zoom, a video-based platform for facilitating synchronous communication, and forums that are planned to be facilitated at a pace that would help the learner check in and get updated with a course through asynchronous communication. Other tools were utilized to promote student engagement and provide quick feedback through formative assessment tools. These were VR-based tours and interactive lessons. VR-based tours are built around a technology called virtual reality, which allows the learner to be immersed in a 360-degree computer-generated world using a headset that tracks head movements to create a realistic experience for the learner. VR is getting excitement from various fields because, aside from being novel, it is one, engaging, two, it can simulate real world experiences, and three, it's portable, which means that people can get access to some locations virtually from anywhere and anytime as long as they have the necessary equipment. Online courses like FODE 004 employed VR-based tours to feature concepts that would otherwise seem difficult to imagine or grasp, with plain 2D pictures and explanations. One example was a VR-based tour of a tropical forest in the Philippines that aimed to explain the different types of forest ecosystem services. It was tested among 60 learners, where it was found that using the immersive version of the VR-based tour made users feel more present in the environment than a regular PowerPoint presentation. This in turn was found to influence their situational interest and learning gain through score differences between pre and post tests. It was also found that increased spatial presence influenced engagement among learners. The interactive lessons were designed based on Mayer's multimedia learning theory, where he argued that a combination of text, graphics, audio, and video helps get attention through the visual and auditory registers, which then gets integrated into the working memory for easier storage into the long-term memory. These lessons also incorporated check-in quizzes between chunks of micro-lessons, which served as formative assessment activities, which provided swift feedback to learners regarding their learning progress. Here is a movie clip of how a learner can navigate the learning objects that accompanied the module notebooks and readings. As shown in the demo, you can see that the learner was trying to answer a multiple choice question after watching an animated explanation of one of the concepts in the course. After passing the checkup question, new animated explanation slides could be seen and heard. The learner can click certain buttons to navigate around the lesson conveniently through a well-marked navigation bar depending on their learning needs. This is also what makes it better than a regular video lesson. Other assessment activities that were employed online were Google Form quizzes and assignments in Google Classroom, which were all monitored through a gradebook. In Moodle, aside from the regular gradebook that monitors grades from automatically graded quizzes and assignments, student engagement and performance were tracked through completion and activity tracking based on logs. Learning analytics modules were also used to predict students who were in danger of failing based on their past activities and logs. This helped teachers implement interventions that could address the needs of these students.
Now, let's go to the last part on the challenges encountered, which will conclude this presentation. Despite the mentioned features and measures, several challenges were still encountered. First, many of the learners were located in remote areas that still lack internet connectivity. This made it difficult for them to access many of the web-based technological tools offered by the university. Second, those who were able to attend synchronous classes on Zoom experience what is called Zoom fatigue, which is the exhaustion that one feels after the video call, video chat, or Zoom meeting. These individuals describe the feelings as that of being drained, cranky, and feeling unproductive. Third, cheating was also a problem found with implementing automatically marked long tests in learning management systems. A common measure was to make the tests open notes, but with a time limit. However, these mitigation methods also had issues on authentic assessment, like the scalability problem in MOOCs that was addressed by peer assessment. One would ask this question: do this assessment really measure what the students learned? Fourth, while learning analytics can greatly improve tracking student progress and engagement that could help teachers create timely intervention measures, there are still issues on ethics and privacy regarding the data traces and student logs that are collected and presented by the system. We hope that we can overcome these challenges by working together. Thank you very much for your attention.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Professor Cohen and Dr. Favorel have sharing their sections. So I will also post the contact of them in the chat box in case anybody want to follow up with them. So now we will move to our next speaker. Is Professor Dr. Huang Wen-Sam from the Vietnam National University of Forestry. So please welcome Professor Huang Wen-Sam to give his presentation.
Hello, everyone. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Yeah, so very good. So thank you very much, organizer, to invite me to give the presentation in this wonderful workshop, wonderful conference. My presentation about virtual mobility, new chance for forestry education and research. I come from Vietnam National University of Forestry. My presentation will be some content. So first, very short introduction of forestry in Vietnam. Second is forestry education in Vietnam, and some virtual mobility of exchange program and research on forestry, and propose some cooperation. Vietnam is located in Southeast Asia, and 3/4 of the country is a mountainous area. And recently, the forest cover in Vietnam is 42% of total of the country. This is with a large effort from government and also support from international cooperation. Population is almost 100 million, and we have 54 ethnic minority groups. Vietnam is a high biodiversity country, about number 10 of the country, the world for biodiversity, with a loss of species for plant and animal. Only plant we estimate about 15,000 plant species, and 8% of them is endemic for the country. The database from Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Development last year, so forest cover is 42%, with almost 15 million hectares. The national forest is more than 10 million hectares, and plantation forest is about 4.5 million hectares. Education and research system of the forestry in Vietnam. It's a total. In Vietnam we have 235 universities, and only one university of forestry is our university. We have the headquarters in Hanoi, and we have one branch in Highland Center of Vietnam in Gia Lai province, and one in the south of Vietnam in Dong Nai province. So we cover for whole country on forestry education. Together with our university, there are 7 universities. They have the faculty of Department of Forestry. It's not University of Forestry, but they have the faculty of department. In the north, they have the Thái Nguyên University, Tây Bắc University, and Hồng Đức University. And in central, we have Huế University, East Tây Nguyên University, and also in the south, we have Ho Chi Minh University of Agriculture and Forestry. They have the faculty of and Department of Forestry. I just talk some very brief information of Vietnam National University of Forestry. We have about almost 1,000 staff with almost 200 professors and a lot, almost 100 lecturers now doing the. Recently, we have about 15,000 students in different levels, the PhD, the master, and for bachelor. For undergraduates, we have 36 major for undergraduate program, and you can see here the forestry silviculture, forest economics, land management, biotechnology, forest resources and environment. For the master, we have 11 programs. Here's what we have 11 programs for master program, and 6 programs for PhD, for doctor program. For research, we also carry out a lot of research on silviculture, the forestry, biodiversity, climate change. We both project inside Vietnam, also cooperation in the region of with other country. I talk some virtual mobility and the exchange program of our university. We have cooperation with 140 universities around the world, and we have a lot of program for cooperation in our education and research, and also in mobility. I saw some programs that we cooperation on mobility and exchange students and staff. We have the bioecon summer school. It's funded by EU. It's under the Erasmus program on European Vietnamese higher education network for sustainable forests and bioeconomy. We cooperation with 3 universities in Europe, one in Finland, one in Spain, and one in Germany. This program is running for three years. And we have a lot of the exchange students both among universities. We also have program exchange and mobility with Swedish University of Agricultural Science and in Sweden, Also, Shizuoka University in Japan, you can see him. We also have program funded by DAAD in Germany. We are the formatter student, and we have really love programs that cooperation with UBC. We have also our student also come to UBC to study, and one of really good student is in the screen where you can see it. We also have some program cooperation and exchange with university in Korea, in Yunnan University, in Kaya University, in Seoul University, and especially we have joined some virtual and offline program organized by AFOCO, and one college of AFOCO just mentioned. Especially the COVID pandemics, and AFOCO organized some workshop of training course online, and we also joined that program. Here's some summer course with cooperation among ASEAN country. This one is organized by, in the picture is organized by Yogyakarta in Indonesia. We also invite the students from different countries come to our university. And in the picture, that's the student from Germany. They come to do to study and do the field work in Vietnam. We supported by together with our university. We have two programs. It's totally teaching in English. That is an advantage for our students when they join the virtual mobility of the exchange student with other countries. The program is on national resources management that we cooperation with Colorado State University in USA. And the program for Southeast Asia countries on international tropical forestry, which funded by DAAD in Germany, and students from ASEAN, Asia, they come to study. And here's the program that funded by EU among Vietnam and European countries. We also have the program funded by Finland, strengthening climate change education for sustainable development in Myanmar and Vietnam. And thus this program is mostly we organize by online because of the pandemic program, COVID pandemics. We are so lucky that we joined some virtual conference, seminar, and our students also joined with organized by Forestry Faculty of University of British Columbia in Canada. You can see that we show that we joined that the conference on global national park management. And here our student also joined the virtual summer camp organized by UBC, the Forestry Faculty. Together with the mobility and education, we also join with other partners to develop some project. And you can see here is we join with Zurich Institute in Germany, develops a project on development of innovative biotechnology to a sustainable product of aquaculture in Vietnam. This project is a wonderful that luckily that's the start before the COVID pandemics, and our colleagues and in our university and colleagues in Germany, they have chance to do inventory for the whole country to see the diversity and find the best species with the quality of aquaculture. And the project of optimizing the bamboo product system and value chain in Vietnam, that we cooperation with TU Trident, Germany. It's funded by both countries. It's a Vietnam government and German government. As you know, that's a pandemic program. So every country, they have to online study. And our university is the same, that we have for 1 year, or 1 year for online teaching. We use several programs. It's a chance of Zoom for teaching, and they have some impact. And we see that from our university. And I believe that also maybe some university the same. The first is a lecture personal interaction between teacher and student. It is really important. That is online teaching we face that problem. And as you know, that is the forestry. It's some courses is theory, but some is an experiment. And they need to carry out on the lab or in the field, in the forest. And some courses is really difficult for teaching, online teaching. Also, if online teaching, also some impact of the attention and the most of students on the lecture. If they see the whole day on the screen. The internet connection and functionalities also impact on the teaching and learning. And if we have mobility with other country, for example, I mentioned that we have the virtual with the other country and the UBC in Forestry. We have some students. We have students in some program is good at English, but other program is teaching in Vietnamese, and the English of student is not so good to attend that course, and that also the barrier for attend the international courses for some students. From our experience in university, we propose some solution. I think the well preparation for both lecturer and student is I think it's a key for online teaching. We also can provide the presentation of literature in advance from lecture to student. For the lecturer, it's a more guidance of the visual for experiment. It's a more than the theory. Especially some courses they need for the theory in the lab or in the forest. So the visual is more important. The connection and facility also provide good for online. If not, it's also really effective on the courses. Also the improvement of the English for staff and also for students if they can attend the international courses in English. I also would like to take this opportunity to propose some cooperation among the conference here and among our university in this conference. AP-FECM, ABFS, and AFOCO, I think a really good organization to provide chance for the cooperation on forestry, not only education, but also on research. So we must approve, and we would like to join more activity with this organization. We also would like to propose more exchange staff and students, both online and offline. The question for me before with the first presentation, we also would like to join the development education program, especially the program that you mentioned before that really good, and we would like to join it. Also cooperation on the research and some topic, for example, RED+, the biodiversity conservation, sustainable forest management, climate change, and national park management. We also can join organize workshop, the conference like this thing, and also the publication. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you so much, Sam. I have one question for you. You just mentioned about the natural resource management bachelor degree. Is all using English as a teaching for? Is it for 4-year program or for the what? How long that? And what the requirement to get into that program? So is it any requirement for the English like ability, like a TOEFL or IELTS? What kind of level of that kind of the student?
Yeah, thank you very much. We have 2 programs. One is a program on national resources management that we cooperation with USA. International tropical forestry, we cooperation with Germany. So bachelor, we have 4 and 4.5 years. So the normal program 4 years, and this program is a 4.5 years. So we also have requirement of the English when they enter, but we also have half year for them to study some basic courses, also improve English, more courses for English before they go to the professional courses.
Okay, so is it? I think that if in this case, like our online courses will be perfectly matched to what they are used, particularly like as a self page of the teaching, they can read can watch the video again and again until they understand. So I think that will be much easier for that program. I think we can discuss, as John, as the English was mentioned, we can discuss later on how to work with that program. And any potential we can attract your student, not only in the US, but also can be Canada as well.
Thank you very much. Yeah, we love to join, and we would like to discuss about that program. And hopefully our students have chance to join and to learn some the wonderful courses that I will provide before. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Professor Wang, for your presentation. Is there any more questions for Professor Wang?
I think Susie, the voice is quite funny though.
Okay, now can you hear me well?
Can you go ahead? It's quite difficult to hear.
Okay, now? Can you hear me now?
The voice is not so clear.
Can you move to the next speaker?
Okay, yeah. Okay, so now our next speaker will be Professor Amin from Chittagong University in Bangladesh. Okay, please go ahead, Professor Amin.
Okay, can I share my screen, please?
Yeah, please go ahead, yeah.
Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Sure. So a very good morning and good evening for some persons from UBC as well. I am from Bangladesh. My name is Al Amin, as Suji said. And my heartfelt gratitude to our Vice Chancellor, who actually she allowed me to give the permission to participate over here, and also AP-FECM for inviting me, and also the teachers, alumni, and employer of graduates, because this is one of the study program, particularly on curriculum development on the basis of the COVID-19 and post-COVID situation and emergency situation, how the forest education will go ahead in our country, particularly in my Institute of Forestry and Environmental Science, University of Chittagong, Bangladesh. Those are very new about my country. Actually, we are a bit surrounded by India and the other part, particularly the south, is open to the Bay of Bengal, and the Myanmar is our also one of the neighboring country. And you see the forest area, those who are the colored area, all are the forest area in our country. Forestry education, this is one of the important education program, and our institute is the pioneer institute. Still, we have 2032 graduates from forestry and environmental science, and also in the current we have 498.
Professor Amin, we can't hear you right now.
Just recently is called Rangamati.
Yeah, we can hear you now.
Professor Amin, please unmute yourself. Yeah.
We had a very bad experience due to COVID-19, particularly in the pandemic. There is a closure of 566 days, no classroom activities, no examination throughout the total education programs in Bangladesh. However, in our university and in our institution, we have the online classes, particularly using Zoom, Google platform like that. And we are thinking of that, we had a great history of colonial history, particularly British colonial history, to nowadays the forestry management and forest education with user-friendly mode. And also we are incorporating the concepts of collaboration and technology interventions in our education program, which leads to examine the current job markets, corporate mechanisms to cope major challenges of climate change and resource sustainability. And ultimately, which leads us to think about new curriculum development in forestry education, particularly. The way actually we are going, we are feeling some stresses, and then our government and the education institutions come forward, particularly government, when the government feel that the perceptions that the scientific study and policy alternations, all things have come forward, and people's livelihood, protection, GDP, these things have come forward. Simultaneously, actually, education institution is also coming forward with the new knowledge expedition, technology interventions, and educational institution also with new curriculum. So actually, which is actually the societal change to achieve SDG goal 4, which is education for all, yardstick to social equity. And where our this COVID-19 pandemic, which is the new challenge for us, because nowadays it is a little bit lower in our country, but I don't know in future again it will come or not. That is the hopefully it will not come again, but
Professor Min, oh,
continuing our teaching and learning method, and considering this thing, the new platforms for communication.
Professor Min, you are mute right now.
In other way, how minimize the distance between the developing economies. Like I saw the collaboration come forward, particularly our loving that AP-FECM came as a boosted platform for collaboration and set an example of sharing knowledge between stated nations. And working on generic forestry education equity in the world, which is, I think this is one of the basic thing we are doing with the AP-FECM, the generic, how we are I don't know. It is. And IFESCO also emphasized the outcomes of the IPCF meetings, new structured course, online and distance learning, this thing. And particularly in our country, we had an act, that means a law already passed on the accreditation process. So all of the degree programs will go through the accreditation councils, and we need to put forward these things. And this actually provide a standardization of the degree, particularly in forestry as well. We are also developing mechanism for avoiding unfair means in research and scientific writings. This is, which is also APCM's one of the motto to do for coming years. However, I'm just telling the how newly curriculum we are going to make, particularly for pandemic and post-pandemic situation, and for the next years. So this study was designed to uphold conceptual approach to know the steps needed to do in the new normal and how will be imparted in the curriculum. So a semi-structured questionnaire was developed and sent to the alumni of the IFESCO, members of the institution of Foresters Bangladesh, different stakeholders, particularly main employers of the graduate and academicians of home and abroad. This we call the focus group discussion. However, purposefully selected persons are interviewed for the valuable inputs through webinars, key informant interview over there. So mainly actually 4 research questions asked in this study. So what are the basic qualities you expect from the fiscal graduates? During the pandemic situation, the education system has been greatly disrupted in our country. However, many institutions started to cope with the situation in different ways. Should we consider these ways for unwanted situation in future for our curriculum development? If the answer of the question number 2 is yes, then the question came to how we are going to take the measures and what are the measures we actually would like to do. Then the last basic query is what are the courses will be in the graduate programs of forest and environmental science you want to see must. So in the first question, the answer come like that mainly many of the respondents and some multidisciplinary knowledge needed for the forestry graduates and substantial knowledge of some key skills, substantial knowledge for computational knowledge. However, strong communication skill is needed and good research capacity, good management capacity, and practical experience, hardworking. Actually, these lead us to impart some of the new things in our curriculum, like interns, like practical, how to go and how to make their communication skills, like these things we are now incorporating in our programs as well. So second question, which actually I told you that already, should we consider these ways of our unwanted situation in future for our, and many of them actually choose that what are the, one of the ways is the online courses. So we got a mandate that we can go forward with this type of classes. However, online assessment 24%. So these are the thing we didn't still develop the proper online assessment mode because there is a scope. The Dr. Fulin of Philippines also mentioned that there is a challenge to get rid of the total unfairness in this assessment process. So we have to go for that one. We want to make sure that 100% fairness should be in the assessment and the exam system. So, and then 12% is more emphasis on the software-based application. This is another thing that now people came to know how to use the forestry education, particularly in online and also computer-based education and some programs which actually like geospatial programs, GIS, the computer skills are being needed for that. And the last one, particularly what are the courses will be in graduate program in forestry, alumni, they mentioned like a corporate communication and ethics, etiquette and development studies, organizational behavior of leadership development, human resource management. We saw how actually different the programs is coming for the future. What that they are little bit not like silviculture like that, but they came from these general things should be over there. However, carbon inventory, conservation biology, green banking, renewable energy management, urban planning, bioethics, forest toxicology, forest biotechnology, bio, and these things actually coming for the specific course, some of them. However, employers ask how forestry can go for the water resource planning and management, communication, and advanced written skills. These things they actually want. They actually like our the graduate curriculum, but they want this if they can go for this one also very nice. And we in our study program we have some international experts, particularly from USA. Two university also joined with the same study, and the experts of international experts, they are actually looking for climate change, sustainable forest management, forest soils, genetics, and here I have to mention the Compass program of USAID. They also funded some money over here to carry out this study program. Then we actually go see that in this pandemic, new online approach, particularly a MOOC, massive open online courses, which has an advantage already recognized as being open access, free to the learner, and providing a myriad of the courses of choose form, and particularly brought pressures on field training and exclude some of the pursuit of forest and environmental science as a career, but with lesser academic credentials. However, we found these online courses actually have a scope to do or continue our education program, particularly for forestry. And now students and teachers are oriented with the flipped classroom, Zoom platform, and the other online way to deliver their lectures. Now students and teachers of Bangladesh, now they're educated enough to carry out these things. And we also tested how actually the students perform over this program. And we saw that we actually took 3 courses offered by AP-FECM and UBC, Sustainable Forest Management in a Challenging World, Geomatics in Forestry, Data Collection and Management, and Introduction to Urban Forestry in the Asia Pacific region. See, these 3 courses, our 55 students participated, and we found when the courses have been completed, we found the students did much well. From you see, the students scored because we took it where constant is there is no unfair means, there is no way of partiality or anything, because this course we thought these are the standard way delivered. And then we found that our maximum students passed nicely, and they got the marks many of them got the marks over 80%. And this is the way actually we understood that our students also come forward to know and to actually cope the online courses nicely with the paveway drawn by the developed nations. So this actually provides a wonderful opportunity for like our country, which is a developing nation and developing economies, to come forward in such a way that with that knowledge and technology is developed and international standard courses which actually equipped them nicely to be a global student and go forward in that way. So I'm really grateful to AP-FECM to come forward with this type of courses, and I hope it will go things. However, in our cases, we also found some academic misconducts, some things. If you go for the online assessment, actually we need to develop a very good online accreditation process, and actually we are in a way to shift our education program from the traditional forestry education to the developed and global standard forestry program. We are working on that, and we are trying to develop the curriculum as well with this knowledge that we provide from different study as well. So I'm actually dedicating my presentation to all of these deans, which once upon a time we met. I don't know when again we can meet nicely with this type of programs, and actually that remembered me so much that all of my colleagues, global leaders of the forestry education, like Dr. Wang, Dr. Professor Inas, and Fulin, many of them, when I saw them on a platform or really, it is a sweet, my memory actually with the sweet. And thanks a lot for your kind attention and give me a chance to present the paper as well. Thank you very much. If you have any question, please.
Thank you, Professor Amin, for your great sharing. So we are now short of a little bit time, so now maybe we will put all the questions in the panel discussion. So let's move to our next speaker. Also our last speaker from Dr. Alio Shrestha. So he's our colleague from Asia Forestry Research Center. Dr. Alio Shrestha, please go ahead.
Thank you, Susie. Please let me share my screen.
Yeah.
Thank you. Screen. So is it in presentation mode?
Yes.
Great, thank you. Thank you so much, Susie. I'm the last but not least. I hope you guys still have some energy to listen to me, but I will try my best to be very quick. So welcome to our presentation. I'm Anil, speaking from Vancouver, UBC, traditional, ancestral, and unceded territory of the Musqueam people. And I'm speaking on behalf of my colleges, which is listed in the first slide. You guys have heard a lot about innovative sustainable forest management, online education resources. So today or now, I will be presenting, as the title reflect, our experience in repurposing those open education resources during the global pandemic. So I will first provide a bit of background about this offering during the global pandemic, followed by what are the challenges we have faced when we offer this course, and followed by what solution we have adopted to address those challenges, along with some student satisfaction data, and concluded by some recommendation for future application. So as you have heard from Professor Zoninis, our colleagues from BFU, ULIN, as well as Professor Alamin from Bangladesh, we have developed 14 open education resources on sustainable forest management with the funding from AP-FECM, which has been using or applied in many different ways, such as you can see it here, in a blended learning, flipped classroom. But today I'm going to mostly focusing on instructor-led open session during the COVID pandemic. So as all of us we are still in pandemic, but when COVID-19 just started in 2020, early 2020, the world was standstill, including face-to-face learning in university all around the world. And it is particularly true for a forestry university in Asia, which unfortunately at that time do not have high quality online teaching and learning materials, as well as they do not have experience, capacity in online teaching and learning. However, thanks to our early vision of our leader at UBC Faculty of Forestry, AP-FECM, and our partner university all around the world, particularly in Asia Pacific region, we have developed a suite of those open education sustainable forest management teaching and learning materials. So we also have acquired some experience providing some of those open education resources to our partner university. So in response to COVID-19, it was a challenge, but also provide us some opportunity. We offer 2 sessions, one in February, as you can see it here, one in February to April 2020, and the second one is from September to November 2020. In the first session, we offer about 8 courses, which were registered by overwhelmingly 1,500 students, which represent 33 universities. While the second session we repurposed 5 open education courses, which were registered by 1,200 students from representing 135 universities from Asia Pacific region, including some university from South America. So as you have been hearing, and we have some experience repurposing those open education forestry resources in the past, but as you see the number of the course and also number of the students they are participating, it was the first time that we are dealing with such a massive number of students and number of courses that we are offering. So we face challenges in two fronts. One is, of course, challenges in course design, like there are those open education resources, and the challenges is how we should adapt those available open education resources for our purpose. And the next challenges was the course delivery. So I will start off by listing out some of the major challenges in course design. For example, one of the biggest challenges for us was to select and rearrange the available open education course material within required weeks of the study, because those open education resources have their one different purpose. And the other challenges was come up with the feasible repurposed course schedule. And as you see it before, the number of students and the number of course that we are offering was so huge. We need to get some help from other co-instructor, facilitator, and TAs. And during that time, so now I think we have a lot of experience, but during that time, it was so new to many instructor, facilitator, and TAs. And these are some of the challenges while we face delivering the course. The first was a lack of interactive learning management system that enhance instructor, student, and student interaction for active learning. The next one was, of course, it requires many dedicated instructor and TAs for teaching large number of students. And when you involve many different instructor and TAs, there is always a potential inconsistency in assignment grading, especially when many instructor and TAs involved. Apart from that, other course delivery challenge that we have faced was providing instant feedback to large number of students. And the crux of the learning is, of course, I think Yulin in his presentation, he showed us about some of the data in which students are a bit not very much satisfied with the interactive learning, and we also face the similar problem, like how we can accommodate the learning activities which are interactive. And the most important challenges that we have faced is, of course, retaining and motivating students to complete the course. So I can also resonate to these challenges. I have registered for, I don't know, several online courses up to now, but I have never completed one. So it's really, really big challenges. The other challenges was, of course, the student expectation of direct interaction with instructor, because most of the students, they used to have face-to-face interaction, but the mode of those interaction had changed. So the student, they still have those expectations. So these are some of the major course delivery challenges that we faced. Now I will share with you what different kind of action that we adopted to address those challenges for course design as well as course delivery. So the first, course design. To address the challenges in course design, we adopted team-based course design and delivery model to select and rearrange open education course material suitable for our purpose. So as you can see it here, in this chart, there was a course running manager overseeing the overall design and delivery of the course. And we have UBC Central Teaching and Learning department. They provided support on instructional and learning design to review the syllabus and detailed assessment description and build the course on the Canvas course design template. And the course lead instructor, they prepare the course content, detailed syllabus, as well as effective delivery of course, each course, including training new TAs and co-instructor on online pedagogy, making sure that high quality interactive teaching and learning will be delivered. And we also have course co-instructor and TAs from the partner university. Their main responsibility was facilitating the course, including monitoring student progress, grading assignment, providing individual and group feedback. So last but not least, we also have course running assistant who will help us for technical support during the course delivery. So altogether, as you can see it here, in the first offering, there was about 56 teaching and administrative teams involved. And in the second offerings, perhaps because we have some experience dealing with the large number of students and the delivering large number of course, so those number was reduced a bit. It was around 21. We detailed course syllabus with weekly topics, learning activities were designed for feasible repurposing open education course schedule. Those courses were particularly last from 9 weeks to 13 weeks. So as you can see it here, we developed very detailed syllabus that will help both co-instructor as well as student to follow those courses, including learning activities, a learning schedule, course completion assessment, as well as grading rubric for each learning activities. So this is a typical weekly learning activities that you can those courses were organized. So student, they on the weekly basis, they will watch video lecture, read the lecture notes, as well as open access mandatory readings. And then they, as a part of the learning activities, they self-learning, they complete the self-learning quizzes, reflection question, and the other most important part is instructor-led learning activities, which are discussion question, thought-provoking question, peer review, 6-sentence summary, presentation, e-poster, as well as preparation of report, depends on which courses they are enrolled in. So in order to address a new co-instructor and TAs, and because they are new to online pedagogy, we provided pre-course workshop, as you can see it here, and those pre-workshop were based on how to facilitate the online education, what are their responsibility. In addition, we also provide them tutorials, both for student as well as for the co-instructor, so that using the tutorials, it will be easier for them to operate in the learning management system in Canvas. So now I will quickly go through the actions that we adopted to address OER course delivery. So in order to address lack of user-friendly interactive learning management system, we embedded all the repurposed course in Canvas learning management system. Canvas learning management system provide environment supporting maximum instructor, student, and student interaction, as you can see it here, just to give you an idea. And then to address issue with effective facilitation for large enrollment class and inconsistency in grading, we divided students into groups with weekly rotation of trained co-instructor and TAs for facilitation. And this is the one example of one course where several, at least I think 8-9 different co-instructor and facilitator, they were helping facilitating the course. And those students were divided into many groups. Like, for example, for this course, there were 7 different groups. To motivate learners and their retention, we use weekly announcement. We showcase best 2 to 3 assignment to motivate the student, try to accomplish their best, as well as we provide group and individual feedback, as you can see it here. And in order to sort of fulfill a direct interaction, we also provided video feedback for their assignment. And to retain them in the course, to motivate them at the end of the course, when they complete the course, we provided course completion certificate, as you can see it here. During teaching, we focus on collaborative and reflective learning activities for more interaction to achieve higher order of learning. Our practice have moved from content-based instruction, so meaning that not only gaining knowledge about the theory, but also, or most importantly, co-creation of course materials guided by Bloom's taxonomy of the hierarchical ordering of cognitive skill from less complexity to highest complexity form of learning, as you can see it here. So these are some of the example. Here we propose a question, discussion question, so that each participated student, they will share the experience from their country, and then there was a learning across beyond the boundary. Apart from that, they read the online open peer review paper, they summarize those paper, and apart from that, they also write peer comment as well. So it will help us for critical thinking and analysis. So apart from that, based on their learning from the whole course, they apply those learnings to prepare, for example, group e-poster, or they also prepare a report at the end of their course, so that they will acquire higher order of learning. So by doing all those different activities, the overall course completion rate was 64% in first offering and 57% in second offering. But those numbers were a little bit varies between different courses. I think for the online course, this number is quite impressive. So generally, what I have heard and in the literature, I think the completion rate for those online courses are quite low. And now some of the demographic characteristics about the learners. So during those offering, majority of students were undergraduate and graduate student, as you can see it here. And most of them, they were major student from forestry. Interestingly, forestry is a field, male-dominated field, but in this case, in our learning activities, who completed the course, so majority of students were female, and their age range was between, as you can see it here, 20 to 30, a typical undergraduate and graduate student. Most of the students who are taking this online course during the first offering, for them, it was the first time learning in English environment. Whereas in the second time, it was reduced a bit. Perhaps maybe some of the students, they actually already taken some of those courses, or maybe they also have taken some courses from other online learning as well. And we also asked about what are their main motivation to participate in the course. Interestingly, majority of the students, they stated that getting or gaining international experience, international learning experience was the most motivating factor for them to participate in this course, followed by flexibility of online learning. To have data on their satisfaction about the learning, as you can see it here, majority of the students reported the course improved their critical analytical thinking, as you can see it here, argumentation and discussion, as well as English writing skills, and met the course expectation. So this is the last slide. So what we recommend, if because in this discussion, many universities, they may want to use some of those open education resources with or without collaborating with us. So what we recommend is we recommend team-based approach in designing and delivering these open education resources with fully online component, or it can be also blended synchronous flipped classroom in the new normal, so that those course material, OER courses, enable new types of learning activities, engage student in meaningful interaction with others and the course content, elevate the learning activities by including real world skills that benefit students beyond the classroom, as we have adopted some of them, and also extend the time, place, and ways that student can master learning objective. So with that, these huge tasks will not be completed with the help of funding from AP-FNet, as well as our partner universities. And we also like to acknowledge co-instructor and TAs that help us. And of course, to the learners who actually participated in this course and provided their feedback. And if you guys want to know about more about or access to those open education resources, you please go to this web page of AP-FECM. So with that, I would like to stop. Thank you. I will unshare the screen.
Thank you, Dr. Andrew Chester. Okay, I think, yeah, we have a short of time, so now we will move all the questions into the panel discussion. Before we move to the panel discussions, I would like to ask like permissions to from our speakers to share the copy of your presentation slides. If everybody agrees, so I will upload all the copies to our website. Okay, so our next section will be the panel discussion and closing remarks. Professor Guangyu Wang, director from AP-FECM, will host this section. So I will hand over to Professor Guangyu Wang, please.
We already it's already 12:30 in here. We already use all the time. So I would just want to thank you for all the panelists to give the excellent presentation. Prior to the conference, we collect the summer question from the member for our AP-FECM member, and so we don't have time to ask as well. So we have two speakers. We don't have asked the question. One is Dr. Amin. There is one of the question here. Is as a manufacturer, AP-FECM online courses. Can you share with us how you use the open education resources effectively, and how you integrate those courses into your university curriculums? You just mentioned a lot of you use those courses, and how can you identify and recognize the credit from those online courses? I think most universities have trouble with those kind of things. So, and how to engage your student in those courses.
Yeah, thank you very much, Dr. Wang. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. I understood your question. Yes, in the very first time, I had some problem to integrate the online courses, particularly in our regular grading system. Then I found that in our curricula, in undergraduate and master's level, we have some tutorial, which is actually the marks, usually 25% of the marks allocated to the course teacher, who can render these marks with his assessment, personal assessment, particularly using some assignments, some practical works, or some intern works. Considering this thing, he will grade the student over that. What I did in my courses, I told them, particularly in the COVID-19 situation, I asked them to enroll in different courses with different subjects. Like I teach in my institute forest management, carbon management, then GIS, like this type of courses. So from AP-FECM, I choose 3 courses, and I told the students to enroll over there, and the grade you got from that course, I will offer that marks to your tutorial. So it actually goes to their own grading of BSc honors. So, and also an MSc in the term paper. So this is the easiest way to match the online courses, which is free, particularly like that. And I also use the Coursera, there are some courses during pandemic, they gave it free. So I also took 6 or 7 courses as the tutorial of them. And when they placed me the certificate and the course teachers actually forwarded their marks to me, I asked actually all of them, like Dr. Anil sister, he actually helped in that, and Michelle also helped. I actually express my gratitude to them as well in this moment, because they provide me and I put the marks over there. According to the marks, the grade is over, like a plus, a minus, like this type of grade is over here. And this is I found the easiest way to cooperate. But now I'm working as a team leader of curriculum development of my university. So I am thinking how to actually put this thing, these online courses, particularly if the resources are very much go with our system, our economy, our nations. Some examples over there. We will put forward them in our curricula as well. That will be helpful. Sometimes some fees might be imparted. Sometimes if we found some fund, then we can give it free to the students. We are also working with the USAID for that thing as well. I think Dr. Wang, this is the
Thank you so much.
Okay,
Yeah, thank you so
very
much. I have a second question for Anil, and it just as one of the key for online teaching and learning, is to provide the user-friendly learning management system, the platform. Can you share with us what you consider to be the most important feature for the learning management system, and how to develop this kind of the feature?
Thank you, Professor Wang, for this question. So I will start with learning management platform. So I think hope my other panel members, they will also add in based on their experience. Apart from many other requirements for successful online course teaching and learning, I think availability and use of friendly learning management system for both instructor and student that enhances instructor and student interaction is key for successful delivery of the course. So based on our experience, we actually used Paedza as a part of the learning management system for our online course between 2016 and 2017 when we were piloting the course. So I must admit that from that experience, it was a really difficult and a pain for instructor as well as for a student to follow the courses. So learning from that experience, we work with our instructional design from CTLT, and she provided help to embedded those of our course in Canvas. And the Canvas, after those course that embedded in Canvas, it was really great experience for us as an instructor, as well as from the student as well, that we collected feedback from the student. That is mainly because I think is all the course materials, learning activities, required learning activities, they can be embedded into one system so that student, instructor, for student-focused learning and teaching will be enhanced. So that is, I think, one ways to signify that learning management system, user-friendly learning management system is a key. And I see from this presentation, so we are quite lucky enough to have Canvas system in our university here in British Columbia. But maybe some of the university in our partner university, maybe they do not have some of those facilities. And like when you do not have some of those facilities, then I think it will be a bit difficult for conduct online learning. But I see that some of the universities, such as in Los Banos, of course, BFU, they already have advanced a lot. They have some of those resources available. But then from our conversation during the COVID pandemic, with our partner university, many of them, they actually mentioned that is one of the key challenges for them. So I think I would like to stop here.
Yeah, thank you so much. Ling is here. Ling is the Beijing Forestry University is now is a leading organization in China on the MOOC development, on the online course development. Can you share with us some your idea on how to prepare and improve the teaching skill for your instructor for the online courses?
Yes, thank you very much for your question. I think personally, the teachers in the context of online teaching, they need to develop better interpersonal exchange skills, because the students in the situation of online teaching, they will be more easily distracted. So the teachers need to continuously attract the students' attention by some tricks, like telling some jokes or sharing some cases or stories, or even some of their personal experiences that is related to what they are talking about in the class, so that the students could be stay focused on the courses and what the teacher is talking about. So this is the most important, and this, I guess, this is the most different part from the face-to-face teaching in the previous stages before the COVID-19. And in addition, I think the teachers will have to insert more pictures or graphics or charts into their presentations to make what they are talking about more visualized to the students. So also to guarantee the students who will be focused and concentrated on what they are talking about in the class. I think these two parts that are important for the instructors to guarantee the quality of their courses in the context of online teaching. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. So Sam, you talk about a lot of the cooperation with different universities in Europe and in US. So the forestry learning is experimental based online learning. So how can you doing those kind of things to mimic the field teaching in your courses? Sam? Oh, you're on.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you very much. That's a difficult question. Yeah. Because that the forestry is an experiment courses, and as I mentioned in my presentation, so some courses, some theory courses is easy. Yeah. Experiment forest is difficult, especially the course they need to do experiment in the lab or in the field. So that also affects us for the online courses, not only in our university, but also in the program that we cooperation with other countries, university. Yeah. So the way we mentioned, the way we try to solve this problem is the well preparation for teacher, for both lecturer and student. They have to prepare very well. And this is not only the slide presentation, but also provide the visuals, the recordings, the experiments they do in the lab, the experiments they do in the field. Yeah. So try to fulfill the gap between the real course offline and online. Yeah, I mean that is it's a more guidance, and also can send the presentation, send the guidance, the visuals, and also the literature for students in advance before the courses start. Yeah, that is the thing we experiment and we advise them to do it. If not, it's really difficult. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, thank you. So we don't have too much time. And John, I would ask you, a lot of university has expressed their gratitude to the AP-FECM to provide excellent online program to the Asia Pacific region. But the future direction of the AP-FECM has been asked for many members. So particularly during or after COVID, where the program should go. So I would like you to invite you to answer that question and also ask you open closing remarks. Yeah.
Okay, thank you for that question, Guan Yu. If I knew where the world was going to be 10 years from now, it would be very easy to answer. But I don't know what Russia will have done by then. I don't know what the relationship between China and the rest of the world will be like. I don't know what will be happening in Africa or South America. I don't know if there will be a new pandemic coming from some other direction. So essentially, I think we were very fortuitous in what we developed. We had a product that was desperately needed across a wide range of universities, and we had it at the right time. I think there will always be the potential demand for such products. I learned this evening that there are 8, I believe, universities teaching forestry in Vietnam. I thought there was only 1. I thought there was just the Vietnam Forestry University. I know that in Korea, there's 28 universities, I believe, teaching forestry. I cannot believe that all of those programs are equally good and that the students are receiving equally strong educations across every university in the Asia Pacific region. So I believe there's still a role to try and help bring the universities to maybe more challenged up to a higher standard. I know that in our travels, we visited one university and they said they have 4 professors. 4 professors in the entire forestry teaching program. But they probably are quite challenged to deliver a forestry course. I know another program that has 5, and the people alternate every year which courses they do. So one year you might be teaching forest engineering, then the next year teaching forest policy, and then the next year you're teaching forest history, and you're just basically spouting out a course that was written down by someone 20 years ago. So there's a lot, I think, that we can do to help people with the resources that they need to put together strong courses that are general in principle, but specific regionally or locally. Because we all believe that forest management is something that we should be doing, that we should be managing our forests sustainably. We need to always remember that 1/3 of the Earth's land surface is covered in forest, and much of it is managed or should be managed, but a lot of it is not managed very well, and there's a lot that needs restoration. So I think that the more people that we can educate and train in sustainable forest management and restoration, the better a world we will have. And I think we have, I'm moving now into closing remarks. I think that what we've heard tonight is that over the past 10 years, the AP-FECM has been a success. I don't know how it compares with other AP-FNet programs, but I would like to think it is one of the more successful ones. Because if it's not, then the others must have been so spectacular that we would never, we would have heard more about them. So I think we've been very successful. I don't think our job is finished by any means. I think we have a lot more potential. I think we could develop our partnerships better. We had 2 universities tonight saying, can we be partners in the program that haven't previously been involved with us? 1 country that hasn't previously been involved with us. So to me, it seems that there is still a great deal of potential. And I very much hope that the AP-FNet will continue the dedication that it has shown to date for education, and that it will continue to use the FECM as a means to improve forestry education in the Asia-Pacific region. It's done a fantastic job so far, the AP-FNet, and I think hopefully it will continue to do so. But as I said, there's a lot of uncertainties. And we just have to bear with those uncertainties. We have to do the best we can. I think the forestry world, or actually no, the university world showed remarkable resilience when COVID arrived, and they were basically, virtually every university was told, switch online. Well, it's not that easy, as many people found, but we did it. And I think we can rise to whatever challenge is going to be thrown at us in the future. So I'm optimistic about forestry education. I think there is still huge potential. I think there are hundreds of thousands of jobs for graduates. We keep on hearing about countries and presidents who say, we're embarking on a 3 trillion tree planting program or whatever. Politicians don't seem to realize you can't just stick a tree in the ground and cross your fingers that it's going to grow into a forest. It doesn't work like that. They do need to be managed. They do need to be looked after. They need to be cared for. We need silviculture. We need forest management. We need restoration where we've got so many areas that have been degraded. And so I really strongly believe that the AP-FNet has a very big future to play in the region, and that the Forest Education Coordination Mechanism will complement the work that AP-FNet does. I'll finish on that.
Thank you so much, John. Thank you. I agree with you totally. And in the last 10 years, AP-FNet give us such great support. Without their support, we cannot achieve so far as we achieved so far. So finally, I would like to again to invite Dr. Lu to give closing remark. Dr. Lu, please.
Yes, thank you, Greg. And also, I would like to say thank you for UBC organizing this workshop. And also thanks all the presenters for sharing information. I think that concerning the future development, just like John Yin is talking about, I think future cooperation at the AP-FNet will keep close cooperation with the coordination office and all partners to further promote the development of this mechanism to strengthen the cooperation among universities. And then also AP-FECM now, we keep close in touch with the coordination office to further explore the possibility of the third phase of ongoing project, trying to make it further developed and make it available for more universities. And also just know that the remarks from Joanne is talking about a lot of uncertainty. That's sure there's a lot of uncertainties. And we think that sustainable forest management is to seek peace of forest ecosystem. Forest education is for people, for forest and peace. I think that forest sectors can make great contribution to the world peace if all the educators and the students work together. We can not only make contribution to the peace of for the ecosystem, but also we can make contribution to peace of the world. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Thank you again for the support. You know, we already, it's almost 1 o'clock here. It's 30 minutes past. So I would like to thank for all the presenters and all the audience for today's. Thank you so much for your great support. Wish you all the best, and I also wish to see you again in the future in person. Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.